This summer, I had an internship with the Telangana Hijra Intersex Transgender Samiti. It was based in Hyderabad, Telangana, India, and I worked remotely with my partner Claudia to fundraise for this specific group of Hijra, intersex, and transgender people. They were especially in need of assistance during this time due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in the upcoming video, Rachana Garu will explain their predicament and ask about donations.
Namaste. Satrangi salam to all of you. My name is Rachana. I'm a transgender woman from Hyderabad, Telangana, India. I came in front of you to explain about the situation of transgender people during the lockdown of COVID-19 coronavirus effect. As you all know, transgender community is mostly dependent on begging as a livelihood. Their livelihood has been largely affected. There is no work, and because of that there is no money with them. Whatever little money they have saved have been expended on purchasing of groceries or medicines, etc. Now they are facing very tough time with no work and money in their hands. So I request through this video to all of the viewers to support the transgender community in these hard times. Please donate a few and little money to the transgender community so that they can live and get through this corona effect. They can purchase few groceries or they can purchase few medicines for them. Kindly support the transgender community.
At the start of my internship in the summer, Claudia and I met with Rachana Guru to talk about the predicament that the transgender community had been in prior to the virus and that had been exacerbated due to the virus. What caught my attention during this conversation was the contradiction between the wide respect previously had for the Hijra community and the intensified disregard and lack of acknowledgement displayed by the Indian government currently. The onset of the pandemic brought more challenges to the community due to the strict lockdown and cruel punishments promoted and enforced by the government. The government's lack of foresight of the damages their policies would do to poor, underrepresented communities brought up the question for me of how the underdeveloped status of India and their place amidst the world system affected the treatment and predicament of the community we aim to fundraise for. For our social media fundraising campaign, we created a GoFundMe account as well as tagged on to the Keto link that was already created for donors in India. And on Instagram, we tailored our posts to those who would most likely empathize with the cause, and we determined that group of people to be those who identify as LGBTQ+, as well as groups fighting for transgender rights. Appealing to a queer audience as well as various philanthropic organizations reflects the way that sexual preference and gender identity affects individuals' rights and sets transgender people in India back through the lack of recognition of them as equal human beings in the eyes of their government and their peers. The next video reflects the hardships of the transgender community during the COVID-19 pandemic and also emphasizes the failings of the government on their behalf.
మనం చూస్తున్నాం ఇప్పుడున్న లాక్డౌన్ కారణం వల్ల ట్రాన్స్జెండర్స్ కమ్యూనిటీ అందరూ చాలా సఫర్ అవుతున్నారు. ముఖ్యంగా ట్రాన్స్జెండర్స్ అందరూ కూడా రెంటల్ హౌసెస్ లో ఉంటారు. వాళ్ళు ఇల్లు కిరాయిదారులు ఇంటి కిరాయి కట్టండి లేకపోతే మీరు వెళ్ళిపోండి అని చెప్పి వాళ్ళని ఇబ్బందులు పెట్టడము, అలాగే వాటర్ బిల్ కావచ్చు లేకపోతే పాల కోసము కూరగాయల కోసము కూడా చాలా సఫర్ అవుతున్నారని ట్రాన్స్జెండర్ కమ్యూనిటీ. మీరు చూస్తున్నారు చాలా వరకు ట్రాన్స్ కమ్యూనిటీస్ ఎవరికి కూడా బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్స్ ఉండవు, సేవింగ్స్ సరిగా చేసుకోరు ఎవరు. సో ఇట్లాంటి ఇబ్బందులన్నీ వస్తుంటాయి. అండ్ మైగ్రేటెడ్ ట్రాన్స్ కమ్యూనిటీ ఎక్కువ ఉంటారు. సో మైగ్రేట్ అయిన వాళ్ళు వాళ్ళ ఊర్లకు కూడా వెళ్లాలన్నా కూడా వాళ్ళకి ఎటువంటి సదుపాయాలు ఏవి లేవు. మీరు గమనిస్తున్నారు అందరూ ట్రాన్స్ కమ్యూనిటీస్ ని కూడా ఇళ్లలోకి రానివ్వరు. ఇట్లాంటి పరిస్థితులు అయితే అసలే రానివ్వరని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. సో దయచేసి ట్రాన్స్ కమ్యూనిటీకి మీరు హెల్ప్ చేయండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.
World systems and dependency theories indicate the pattern of core nations both assisting and exploiting underdeveloped nations. As a periphery nation, This leaves countries like India in situations where they have become so dependent on foreign investment as well as prone to increases in the likelihood of corruption within the government. Corruption is a factor for social inequity and can be applied to India in this situation. Developing nations such as India often have high levels of corruption that involve deals that benefit elites and are detrimental to the poor. The lack of consideration for the needs of the citizens during the onset of the pandemic resulted in many hunger and non-COVID related deaths. This lack of foresight can be attributed to the inability of the Indian government to stray from corruption and violence and implement policies for those who really need it. My internship provided me with valuable insights and experiences. Claudia and I were able to exceed our goal with the help of Dr. Walters, and the organization used the money for basic necessities and even funds for startup businesses that can help them to sustain their own livelihoods during this time of uncertainty.